I was in a stable job with around 10 years of experience. I was doing good. In OCT of 2010, I was headhunted by a startup and I joined them with a lucrative offer. Little did I know how startups work. I was hired as a trophy employee, who will get them the next round of funding. When I joined them, they had a complex product with not so experienced developers. It took a lot of effort to build features and scalability into the system. A lot of effort went into hiring the right resource and build up the team. I met a set of investors and sold them the product, and of course my past history got the deal in place. The startup acquired funding in Jan of 2011. The complete management team went for a world tour visiting numerous continents and gathering inputs for the product. They got new cars. In April of 2011, the product was finally launched. And I was fired in May 2011. By that time I had got a sense of what was happening. I was naive on how Indian startups work. I was an expensive resource who procured the funding for the startup. My work was done. The vision of the startup was to get rich on investor money. The day I was fired, I was in discussion with the CEO for 3 hours. He blamed everything on me. Slow deliveries, bugs, infrastructure costs and everything else. I still have a voice recording of that day. A lot of thought went into my mind when I got fired. How will I pay the MS? I had 2 MS, car and home. How will I fund the school? Since I was in a stable job earlier, I had not planned for such situations. Whatever came in at the starting of the month was used up by end of the month. I also thought of reaching out to my parents for help if nothing materializes in a month. I was depressed and sleepless. I was without a job for a week. Till date, no one in my family or friends know that I was without a job. I used to go out during office hours and sit in cyber cafe searching and applying for job. I was lucky enough to get hired in a week's time by another startup, which again went out of money in a year's time. But that is another story. I have stayed away from fresh startups since then. Better safe than sorry. The lesson that experience taught me is that there is no stability in IT industry. You need to have at least 6 months of money in your account. Today, after almost 10 years since the incident, I could still recall the desperation that I felt in those 7 days. I am now saving almost 50% of my salary. I am prepared, but I hope never to see that day again. The software industry is constantly changing. There are new technologies every day, and it is impossible to master them all. People look at us as high-paid resources who work in AC offices. However, the reality is we do not have any stability in our job. Tools, techniques, technologies and even requirements keep on changing constantly. After being fired, a software engineer cannot do anything else. He is not accustomed to work without AC. He cannot do labor or drive taxi. What else can we do? Note: for people asking for equity while joining startups, PLS ensure that you get the equity in stamped paper in addition to your offer letter. In India, startups cannot be trusted.